Well, hello my beautiful and amazing crafters. Welcome to another video of Crafting with Shaneda. In today's video, I'm going to show you 3 ways that I made these extra large cutouts right with my Cricut machine. So I'm hosting a birthday party in just a few months, and I really wanted to make these DIY cutouts. When searching online, I realized that they can be pretty costly. So I wanted to make them myself since this would be probably for one-time use, and I want to show you how you could do the same as well. So the 3 different ways to make these large posters. The least costly way to make the cutouts would be to use cardstock. As you can see here, I have the jasmine using poster board and cardstock. With this look, you can make your design as large as your cutting mat. For this project, I used my 12 by 24 cutting mat to cut out the cardstock. I purchased these large poster boards from my local Walmart and Dollar Tree. The second option that you have is to use print and cut. Just like using a cardstock, you can make your design as large as you would like. You'll just be using several pieces of paper to print and cut out your design and put it together again like a puzzle. The final way is to actually print out your image on a large poster. And then all you have to do is cut around the image and place it on your foam board. Now I purchased this 20 by 30 foam board, and this is the size that I want to use for my cutout. I want to be able to utilize as much space as possible for each cutout, or if anything, try to fit 2 on one foam board. So with that in mind, when I go to create my design, my main measurement is going to be based off of 20 by 30 inches. Okay, let's get started with the first idea, which is using cardstock to create your large cutouts. So again, my foam board that I purchased is 20 by 30 inches. So I want my image to stay between those measurements. And I did a horizontal and vertical just so I can get a visual depending on how I want my image to lay. When choosing my image, I want something that has layers, so it's just easier for me to break it down by color and then cut that out with the cardstock that I have or poster board. So this particular image I did purchase online because it's already a layered file. So if you come over to your panel and you ungroup it, you can see all the different layers that are in this one design. Now you can find an image on Google and then separate it by colors. I do have a video on how to separate as SVG by colors. You can also go into Cricut Design Space, or if you have Cricut Access or want to sign up for their free trial, you can have Cricut Design Space create up to 9 different layers for you and separate it by color. There is a beta version available, so you have that option. But for me, I just wanted this to be quick and easy and be able to start cutting my files. So I went to Etsy and I went over to Etsy and I just typed in layered files, layer Aladdin files, and I was able to find this seller that had files ready to go that are already layered. So all I needed to do was just bring them into Cricut Design Space and cut accordingly after sizing. So that was just easy for me to do, and so that way I could get started. So now these 2 pieces will fit on my 12 by 24 mat. It's going to be 2 separate cuts, but now at least it will fit. And I'm going to do the same thing for all the other grouped elements. Everything else is going to fit. It was just the back layer and this front layer here. Now when I first cut the middle section, I just sliced it in half, but I just didn't like the way it was sliced in half, so I ended up slicing it at the bottom, and that worked. I'm going to send this to my mat, and it's already sized for the 12 by 24 inches. So this would be a total of 8 mats to finish this project, and so I'm going to go ahead and set continue. So now all I'm going to do is just cut out the excess That way I could go ahead and send this to the maker to cut. All right, so I have everything cut out and I just laid out all the pieces. I'm going to refer to the original design so I can make sure everything matches up perfectly. Now the middle section here, at first I cut it in half, but I just did not like the way it wasn't lining up well. So I went back in and sliced it at the bottom instead of in half, and I like the way that looks. The next step is I'm going to add the image onto the foam board. Now there's two ways that you can cut your image from the foam board. The first way is you can trace the image and use an X-Acto knife to cut around and cut out the foam board. Or the way I'm going to be using my foam cutter to cut around the image after I hear it on the foam board. Now in order for me to use my foam cutter, I need to remove the top and bottom layer, the paper protective layer from the existing foam board. I got this tip from a fellow crafter and I'll list her name on top if you want to check out that video. It was very helpful. If you don't remove the paper from the top and the bottom of the existing foam board, it will burn and have these burnt edges, and you do not want that. So I'm just going to carefully remove the paper. Now once the paper is removed, I'm going to use some tacky spray adhesive to adhere my cardstock cutout. I've seen people use glue sticks or glue, but I like the tacky spray. It works really good, dries fast, and I'm just making sure to use some gloves and spray it in a very open, ventilated area. I start a little at a time and then adhere the whole image onto the foam board. So I set it aside so it can dry, and while it's drying, I'm going to go ahead and preheat my foam cutter. I'll be using this electric foam cutter, and I will have everything listed in my Amazon storefront. Temperature I used, or I like to use, is about 700 degrees for this, and I'm making sure when I use this foam cutter to make sure it's in a safe location away from any of the kids or pets. You don't want anybody getting burned. It gets extremely hot. So now that top layer paper is removed from the foam board, it's very easy for me to just go ahead and start cutting out the design. just being very careful and just taking my time. I put in so much effort, I don't want to now this part to be ruined. Now that the image is cut out, it's time to create the stand for the cutout. Now this particular cutout, I'm just going to have it hang up because it is a bird. But if you wanted to make a stand, you can use the leftover foam board to create the stand, or do what I did was I bought pre-made stands. They come in a variety of different sizes. These are 7 inches and they're so easy to use. All I had to do was just fold it back, pop open the stand portion, and then just remove the adhesive and adhere it to my cutout. They come again in different sizes, and it just made it so easy just to use these pre-made stands. Again, I'll have everything listed under my Amazon storefront. The second option to make these large signs with your Cricut machine is to utilize Cricut's print then cut feature. Now with the print and cut feature, you are limited to the sizing that print and cut offers, which is 6.75 by 9.25. But with a little patience, and if you have enough paper, you definitely can get these over the mat size cutouts. So let's head over to Cricut Design Space and I'll show you how I created this print and cut over the size cutout. Okay, so we're back in Cricut Design Space and it's time to take this PNG and make it a print and cut image. And we're just going to slice this image so it will fit on the foam board. I want to use as much of the foam board as possible, and I want to try to get at least 2 images on this 20 by 30 inch foam board. So now it's time to slice the image so I can print this out, and right now collectively it's about 12 by 24 inches. So right now, as you can see, Cricut Design Space is giving me an error message because I need to make sure that it stays in the perimeters. So I'm going to bring in a rectangle and I'm going to start slicing the image so that way it will be able to fit in the dimensions of Cricut's print and cut. So let's try the 6.75 by 9.25. Alright, perfect. See if I could go a little bit bigger. No, the minute I try to make it a little bit bigger, it's giving me the error message that it's too large. So I'm just going to continue to slice the image, just making sure where I slice my image, I don't have so much prominent lines when I go to piece it together. And then I'm just deleting the extra sliced pieces that I don't need. Trying to keep this as clean and neat as possible. Now that I'm happy with the design, I'll go ahead and set it to be print then cut. And then I just taped each section together with some masking tape and adhered it onto my foam board. So this time I'm using an X-Acto knife to cut around and cut out the image. I prefer the foam cutter instead. You don't have to just use cardstock for your print and cut. You can also use glossy cardstock as well, or even print it with cardstock and you can laminate it. The third and final way to make an extra large cutout, which to me is the most easiest, the most cleanest look, but it is more costly. And that would be to create an image or design. In this case, I'm going to use Canva, and then send that design to be printed. And in this case, I'll be using Walmart Photo. You can use other services to print out your design. Keep in mind when it comes to copyrighted images, a lot of services won't print them out. So I'm going to be using Walmart Photo, and what I like to do first is just see what size posters they have available, and then once I choose the poster size I like, that's how I'm going to create my design based off of that poster size. Now, luckily for me, they do have a 20 by 30 inch poster size, and again, my foam board is 20 by 30, so this will be the perfect size for me. I will be using this because I'm going to make a huge cutout of my grandbaby using this 20 by 30 inch poster size. But for today's tutorial, I'm going to show you the smaller version, which is 11 by 14. And currently this is the price, subject to change for when you're watching the video. But it's 11 by 14 is what I'm going to use to show you in today's tutorial. So now that I went to Walmart Photo, I know what poster size I want to purchase. I'm going to take the sizing, and this is what I'll use when I go to Canva to create my design. So here I'm in Canva, and I'm just going to create a custom size and putting that dimension of 11 by 14 inches, and then hit create new. So what I'm going to do is I found an image on Google, and I'm going to bring that into my Canva template, and I'm going to remove the background. I do have Canva Pro, and I know that's one of the pro features is to be able to remove that background. Now that the background is removed, I'm going to go ahead and scale the image to the 11 by 14 to just fill up as much as the page as possible, because I'll be saving this image as a PNG and I'll upload it into the Walmart Photo so I could purchase this and have it shipped to my home. Now that I'm back at the Walmart Photo, I'm going to go ahead and choose the poster size, again the 11 by 14. I'm going to choose a glossy finish, and now I'll be able to add the photo where I saved it onto my computer, just making sure the orientation is going in the correct direction. I'll go ahead and add my shipping information and place this order to be shipped to my home. It took about 7 days to arrive, and I had just unraveled it and left it out straight with the little mat on top just to stretch it out. Now I'm going to go in with a pair of sharp scissors and cut around the image so I can adhere it to my foam board and cut it out. And I just prefer using the foam cutter versus the X-Acto knife. I know I will lose a little bit of this sturdiness removing the paper, but it's just easier for me to use my foam cutter. Out of the 3 options, which one would you give a try? Let us know in the description box below. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned a little bit or a lot, and we cannot wait to see you on the next video of Crafting with Shaneda. Happy crafting!